Hi everybody, welcome back. Thanks for watching this next video for my YouTube channel. And this month we're going to be addressing this idea of watching online drumming videos and how much we learn from that type of information. So let's dig right in and get into it. I want to say that watching online drumming videos is one of my favorite things to do. I just watched some videos last night. I saw some amazing drum technique videos. I remember there was some solos, and I watched a lot of videos on YouTube. Although I wouldn't say I practiced last night, I definitely watched a lot of drumming videos. And this segment this month is addressing sort of that pattern that we seem to be getting in, including myself, which is that we spend a lot of time looking and observing and watching drummers play. And then how much are we practicing that information? How much do we take what we're seeing and apply it to our drum set to increase our skills as drummers? So that's really the heart of what's going to be talked about this month. I want to open up by saying that I watched a lot of videos when I first started learning drums. I remember very clearly going to the drum store, taking my paycheck that I got from my fast food job and going down to the drum store, and I picked up videos like this. This is a VHS video from Louis Bellson, if you know that drummer. And I remember watching this video on my VHS recorder back home and learning some of the things that he was talking about. That was one of the first videos I ever picked up. I've bought DVDs over the years. This is a J.R. Robinson DVD, which is he's a great drummer, the most recorded drummer of all time in some sources. So he actually has a great video on how to time keep and play different styles of music. And then this is another one of my favorites that's in my library, the Benny Greb DVD here, The Art and Science of Groove. I really love the production and what Benny has done with that video. And there's many other videos that obviously are out there. And the thing that I remember doing, though, is actually going and physically picking up some of these sources and then watching them. And not too far after watching them, I remember practicing what was on the video, because there wasn't a lot of information on phones and there wasn't videos on phones. So it was literally like watching it on your TV, and then probably somewhere near there in your basement was your drum set. And so it was just a natural thing to go over there and start practicing what you were watching. So let me talk about the pros or the advantages of watching these videos, because I definitely think there are some very important benefits. So number one, we are a very visual species. The human brain, I'm just going to show you this little model of the brain, not life-size obviously, but the human brain is set up to process visual information. The back of our brain is an area called the visual cortex, and that visual cortex processes all sorts of visual information for us. And vision is actually so important for the human brain that we have about a third of the brain back here devoted to processing just that sensory information. So clearly, vision is a very important stimulus for human beings. So watching videos sort of captures our attention. Watching these online videos of all sorts just directs our attention. We're very visual based, and that's a good thing. I think it allows us to seek out that type of information more and more. The other thing I would say about watching videos is, as a drum teacher myself, I'm not always around. I'm not always directly one-on-one with my students, and drum teachers out there, you're not either. So watching a video for a student is a very good thing, because it allows the student to get the education and the information about the drums, and the teacher isn't physically present, but they can still learn. And I think that's a good thing that has blossomed in recent years. We also know that watching videos from experts is a powerful way to learn. When I learn from very well-known and well-respected drummers, I know that they're the experts. I know that they know what they're talking about. And that can increase our motivation to learn drums. It can increase our intrinsic motivation, which is that internal motivation to keep learning and striving to get better and better at your instrument. So those are all great benefits, I think, of watching videos and seeking these things out. And I would definitely say this video isn't to discourage you from doing that. We're going to basically more talk about how we can balance these things out a little bit more. Okay, so now what I want to talk about one more thing that relates to neuroscience, and this is kind of the critical piece for learning, which is that when we watch videos and we watch anybody perform behaviors, we have a strip of our brain that controls our motor actions, and in that area of our brain we have specialized neurons called mirror neurons. Not very long ago, Italian neuroscientists discovered these cells and called them mirror neurons because what they found is that when you observe actions being done that require motor skills, maybe playing a sport, maybe riding a bike, in our case playing drums, when you watch individuals play those and do those activities, those cells in our brain activate. Those are the same cells that activate when we are physically performing those behaviors. So when I physically play the drums and I have sticks in my hand and I'm moving my arms and my legs, those cells activate. They control my motor skills. But if I put the sticks down and I go over and watch a video and see someone playing drums, those same types of cells fire just by watching it. That's a very fascinating part of the brain that we've recently learned about in neuroscience, that mirror neurons activate when we do activities, but mirror neurons also activate when we watch activity from other people. And it might be the neurological basis for how we observe and learn. So this observational learning that is so important. I mean, this is ingrained in us from birth. We watch other people and we learn from them. And that sort of activity is encoded in our brain. Those brain cells help us do that. So online videos that talk about how to drum, how to do rudiments, how to play beats, there's no question that those are activating those mirror neurons in our brain, and you should definitely encourage that. If you're a drum teacher, encourage your students to watch those videos, get those cells stimulated. If you're a student out there, you know that it's important to watch those videos and get those mirror neurons stimulated, and that really kind of is the basis for driving your learning on the instrument. Okay, let's talk about some of the downsides as well. We're going to offer some things to think about. These aren't necessarily things that should discourage you from ever watching an online drumming video, but these are things to ponder and just consider how much you're doing of each. So one of the big downsides to watching online videos is a study that I came across. I heard a podcast talking about how we develop skills. It's called skill acquisition. And a group of researchers, Dr. Ed O'Brien is the main researcher, published a psychology research paper in 2018 talking about watching online YouTube videos for different skills. I mean, these were kind of basic skills like throwing darts, how to moonwalk, which is kind of interesting, and how to play online video games. So he had people watch videos about how to do that. And then he asked them and gave them kind of a rating scale and said, how much do you think you could do that? How well could you perform those activities? So you just watch the video, you don't get to actually do it, but how well do you think you could perform those behaviors? And what was really interesting from the research study is that in many studies that he performed, if you watched those activities, you watch other people perform those activities, you later rated yourself as more likely to be able to perform those skills. If you actually had to do the skills, you actually couldn't do them very well. Something about watching the videos leads you to think that you can perform them very well, and it leads to an overconfidence in your ability. Again, these people couldn't or were not allowed to actually perform the skills right after they watched. They just had to rate them. But later when they were tested for the actual performance, they weren't as good as they thought they were. And so I think that's one of the big caveats that's recently coming out of psychology, is that watching too many online videos without actually practicing, without actually performing the skills that you're watching, will lead to an overconfidence and a sense that you are learning when you really truly may not be. Because when you actually have to perform it, there's some deficits that you might experience, which can be frustrating because you think you've watched all this, you think you've understood it, and then when it comes time to actually physically do it, you have problems. And I think that's really the heart of my message today is, in the past when I would go to my drum store and pick up my videos, I said my video was right there on the TV screen, and then I would go play the drums pretty closely after it. Now on our smart devices and our phones, we can watch these videos no matter where we are, which is always touted as the benefit. But that's also the downside. We can take these videos wherever we are, away from our drums, and watch a lot of them. And unless we actually take that information and come down and practice, we may be gaining overconfidence. We may be thinking that we're better than we really are. So what I would suggest is more of a balance. If you are watching these online videos, if you're a student or a teacher and you're using these online videos, tie those videos to performance and make sure the practicing and the rehearsing of the information comes pretty close in time to when you're watching it. If you're just watching and taking your phone and watching it on the commute to work and watching it while you're shopping and watching it at home when you don't have your drum set up, I think that's where it's going to lead to some of those problems that the research is suggesting. So put that more in balance and be more conscious. Think about how you're using these online videos and how much that's tying into your practice. Let me finalize this video this month by giving you a final recommendation, which is I always believe that we learn the best by doing multiple types of activities. Our brain is an amazing organ. It does so much for us. But we know that we learn the best when we take in all kinds of sensory information, not just the visual information that's pretty powerful. But don't forget that we learn a lot by listening and hearing. Invest in a really good pair of headphones. These are some headphones that I have. Don't discount the power of actually putting music on and listening to it without seeing it. Just put some music on and listen to what is happening in the drums. Try to emulate that when you practice and you perform. I recently tried to re-engage that. A few weeks ago I started downloading some new jazz music and I just sat down and I listened to that on these headphones. I didn't watch it. I closed my eyes and just listened to what was going on with the drums and how the drummers were playing. And that really created a unique experience for me that I've gotten away from. And I think that's a powerful thing to do periodically, is to use your other senses. Use the hearing sense. That developing your ears is such an important thing for a musician in general, and obviously very, very critical to becoming a good drummer. All right, so I hope that this month it made you think a little bit about the information that we're experiencing. Online videos on YouTube and on Instagram are wonderful resources of information. There's a rich variety of information. We have so many different drummers and so many different styles coming at us that it's an unprecedented time. I do think we're in a bit of an information overload situation where we get too much information though, and we don't always know what to do with that. So again, if you're watching these videos, try to dissect it down, maybe take little smaller chunks and actually perform those activities, because again, psychology research suggests that if we watch too many videos and don't actually practice or perform them, it may lead to some overconfidence in how much skill we're acquiring. So thank you very much for watching this video this month. I hope you got something out of it. I hope there's some maybe neuroscience that you didn't know about before. If you look in the description below, I'll have a free PDF link, and it has some of the links that you can click on to get more information. It also will have a link for the research paper that I was referring to about the skill acquisition from Dr. Ed O'Brien, and you can download that directly. If you have any questions, please contact me. I provide my email and my email account and my website for my teaching and drumming website. Please engage and ask questions. I'd love to hear from people out there in terms of how they think about this, and start a conversation. That'd be great to hear from you. Next month I'll be back, and I'll take another topic related to psychology and neuroscience, something that you can use to help you become a better drummer and a better drum teacher. So until next month, we'll see you again. Thank you.